Hello everyone and welcome back to Monsters of the Past. As always, I'm your host Mr. G. Today, we're finishing off our double feature quadrilogy with two more sauropods. Now, I can't really think of a thing these two have in common besides the fact that they're both sauropods and they're famous for their tails, but let's just finish this quadrilogy so I can go back to these single things for a while. Today we're talking about Shunosaurus and Diplodocus. Shunosaurus means shoe lizard, in reference to the area it was discovered in China. It's unknown what family of sauropods it belonged to, and it was an herbivore that lived during the late Jurassic in Asia. Shunosaurus is pretty small by sauropod standards, being only about 30 feet long, making it smaller than T-Rex. The thing that made Shunosaurus interesting is the fact that at the tip of its tail was a club covered in spikes. This does make sense if you think about it, since most sauropods' defense is just how big they are. But since Shunosaurus was so small, it would have needed something else to defend itself, which in this case is a tail club. That's all I really have to say about Shunosaurus, so let's move on to Diplodocus. Diplodocus means double beam, and it was a member of the Diplodocus family. It was an herbivore that lived during the late Jurassic in North America. Diplodocus was massive, with the biggest species capable of reaching more than 100 feet in length, making it one of the longest dinosaurs ever, only possibly being beaten by some fragmentary sauropods that could potentially have reached longer lengths. The most notable feature of Diplodocus is the fact that it had an extremely long whip-like tail, which is believed by scientists to have been used like an actual whip in order to fight off potential predators. Another thing to note is that the biggest species, Diplodocus halorum, was originally a completely different genus known as Seismosaurus. Named in 1991, Seismosaurus was touted as the biggest dinosaur ever by the people who discovered it, who claimed it could reach lengths close to 200 feet long. However, two things eventually happened to Seismo. One, its size estimates dropped massively after further analysis, going from nearly 200 feet long to just barely passing 100. Secondly, bone structures revealed that it and Diplodocus were the same animal. As such, Seismosaurus was reclassified into being a species of Diplodocus. Now that we got that out of the way, let's look at the cards. Well, at least Shunosaurus' nostrils aren't on top of its head. But, anyway, this card claims, and I quote, "This dinosaur had a weapon that its big cousins never had. It ended in a thick, knobby club that could be swung with enough force to kill a large enemy in one blow." The problem here is that we know of sauropods that were bigger than Shunosaurus that also had tail clubs. Like Maminkosaurus, for example, was a massive animal, but it still had a tail club. So claiming that its bigger relatives never had a tail club is inaccurate. Another inaccuracy is the fact that it has the wrong skull. I know this because it has an actual picture of its skull on the back. As you can see, Shunosaurus' head was rounded, but here they gave it a typical Apatosaurus or Diplodocus-like head. Oh yeah, I'm not sure if this next thing counts as an error, but this card has some very weird wording on the back that I'm not even sure what they're trying to say. Here it is, and I quote, "Experts believe that this dinosaur was the next to last of the biggest dinos that walk the earth." What does that mean? I've looked at this like 10 times now and I'm still not sure what they're trying to say there. Tell you guys what. Whoever's the first to figure out what they're trying to say there will get a shout out in the next video. That's a promise. Overall, I give this card a 7 out of 10. As for Diplodocus, yeah. These cards were made when Seismosaurus was still considered a possible genus. And the nostrils are on top of the forehead. Something I find interesting is that the back of this card is used to explain fossilization, which is weird. Why did they pick Seismosaurus of all animals for that? I don't have anything else to say here. Just the fact that its name is called Seismosaurus and it has nostrils on its forehead is enough to bring this card down to an 8 out of 10. Now let's look at these two in pop culture. Shunosaurus was in Jurassic Park 3 Park Builder, and it was in Jurassic Park Builder for mobile devices. Diplodocus appeared in the Rite of Spring segment of Fantasia. It was the main character of the second episode of Walking with Dinosaurs. Some taxidermy juvenile Diplodocus appear in the background of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Diplodocus was also in Jurassic Park 3 Park Builder, and so was Seismosaurus, funnily enough, which means that technically the same animal is in the game twice. Speaking of Seismosaurus, the Animal Crossing series featured a Seismosaurus as a collectible fossil in Wild World and City Folk, although in New Leaf it was correctly renamed to Diplodocus, and in New Horizons it was replaced by Brachiosaurus. And a Diplodocus skeleton was also a minor plot point in the Animal Crossing movie, and yes, there was a movie. Diplodocus has been in both Jurassic World the game and Jurassic World Evolution. Diplodocus has been in Land Before Time. And finally, Diplodocus appears as a tameable animal in the video game Ark Survival Evolved, where its gimmick is that it's stupid. That's all for this episode of Monsters of the Past. Join me next time when I take a look at dinosaurs that lived off of the mainland. Bye!